All right, so now you can see here I've kind of navigated somewhere else. I am in Google Fonts. You can Google Fonts. Also, that's actually how I got here. Also, Adobe Fonts is another great place. You can also go to DaFont, some other places that will provide free fonts. I also have that in our, I believe, our frequently asked question portion of our class, but you can see here that we can have a really good resource for going and finding different types of fonts that might work. Now, currently, if I go to what we're up to here, all right, so now I'm back in the document. Let me just change this. So I just want to see, what am I using for a font here? Lobster 2. Cool. And this is ABZ. Cool. Let's see here. Lobster 2. I wonder if they actually have this in Google Fonts. Aha. So the reason why I wanted to come here is it actually allows for you to take a look at what the different styles of this font looks like. So say for instance, if I want to, and this is even something that you can do before getting into the Figma document, if you want to say, oh, well, let's Fedor. I forgot if that's how, oh, Fedor. Yeah, if I wanted to explore, you can see here that it shows me what the bold looks like, what bold italic looks like. And what I might do is take a look at how this is represented. Has a little bit about the licensing, which is important to know that, you know, what you can use this for. You know, it looks like this is a free font, pretty much. You can use it freely or for commercial. And when it says download family, that's downloading the entirety of the font family. Now, going forward, you can see here with Adobe Fonts, this would be more in line with if you are using Adobe software to kind of create certain things. So let's just take a look here. You have to have a Creative Cloud subscription in order to have access to these fonts, which is not so great all the time. But what I like to do is come here for inspiration. You can also see that you can do a visual match for Adobe Fonts as well. So it's pretty neat if you are a part of that Adobe family. Now, going farther, I like to go ahead and see what fonts look good with, you know, said font. So let's just pretend I'm happy with Lobster 2. So I'll say fonts that work with, and I'll say Lobster 2. Let's see if someone's actually talks on this. All right, so there's the actual one that's talking a little bit about this. Okay, cool. So you can see here that there's something called font combinations. And what I'll do is I'll just take a look here. And it allows for me to, and whenever I kind of make something and I need multiple fonts, I tend to look to see what combinations work together. So if this is kind of the combination that works really nicely together, I can understand why this person maybe picked this. This is not an absolute. It's just something that informs my decisions. And then this is a web developer, so they have the CSS code, which is really great. But here I'm like, okay, I can see why they chose this, but I feel like the weight of this Lato font is a little bit heavy, but I'm not really interested in kind of what I created. I don't like this font as well. But what you might want to do here, and this is what I like to do for some of these types of files, let's pretend I'm happy with these fonts. What I'd like to do is go and I would maybe import a picture of something, like if there's a font that's not available in the program, I would go ahead and, oops, like for instance, like something like this, I would just go ahead and make a little mock-up of this and then put that in the design file. So I'm just gonna grab that and put it on my desktop and then just show you how I'm incorporating that. So it would be something similar to, I don't want to do this. I want to add an image, place image. There's that lobster too. Whoop. Plop. And I put it into this constraint box, but this is kind of like what I enjoy doing, which is if I can't seem to find a font that's actually functioning within the program that I like, I'll go ahead and put that there. But the cool thing about using Figma is most likely the fonts are going to be compatible with web fonts. So you won't have to worry about this not able to be read on multiple computers. All right, but in this case, let's not. So I just want to go ahead and talk to you about kind of how I might label this or how I might want to organize this. I'm going to, so you can see here, that's my group selection here. I think I want to go ahead and get right into this. I double click to get into this. I want to organize this in a different way. Okay. And you'll see kind of what I'm doing here. I'm gonna use my little text box here. And what I'm going to do is double click again. And you can see here underneath fill, this is the hex code. And that means that this is the 6-digit code of exactly what color this is. I'm going to, just for the purposes of, oops, where did my, yeah, I didn't use anything. So what I'll do is I like to put the hex code, in actually, I kind of like that. Uh-oh. Okay. Let me just check this real quick. No. Okay. All right. All right. And you can see here that I'm just going to go ahead and put the hex code in. Sometimes what you can do is put in the RGB code, etc., like that. So you'll have hex, and then our RGB. Let's see if it will provide me with this correct code. Just gonna double click here. Hex, yep, and then it has CSS as well, which is really important for our purposes. So RGB is the 101, 137. I'm only gonna do one of these for interest of time. Oops. And usually I roll with a piece of paper underneath the monitor, just so I know. Now, so this is just in case, say for instance, someone is not working in Figma. Maybe you want to make, this is a guide, basically, this mood board. I want to kind of tell the next person, like, these are the colors that I'm thinking about, and these are the exact color codes they are. So no matter what software they go into, they can go ahead and plug in these numbers and use them. Let me just go ahead and write them down a little bit for myself so I don't have to keep going back and forth for you guys. The last 100% that you might see on this, I'll show you guys that one more time. And then 1, 2, 2, great. Double clicks, getting into my fill. Oops. This is the opacity. So that's kind of like the opacity level, if it's see-through, etc. But yeah. And then finally, what we'll be using is this, the CSS. So let me go ahead and put that there as well. Even though the hex code will take care of most of what we need. Cool. And let me just make that a little bit smaller. So this document is pretty well organized. And I would basically duplicate this all the way down. Now, easy duplication, you might remember, is holding Option or Alt, and then you can see I can hold and drag. So for most of these, I can just go ahead and get those temporary, or make a template almost of what this is. There you go. Now, tiny recap, you know that all of these colors are wrong underneath. I'm being overzealous in my document again. Okay, you know all these colors are wrong because these are templates, but I would go in and I'd fix all of these. And then you'll see here that the top one, that is the one that is actually the correct code. So do not duplicate this just because, but this might be a really easy workflow tip for you guys. Another thing is, how do we let people know what type that we're using? So, oops, I'm going to, this might be a little bit easy. I'm duplicating this, and then I'm saying what purpose this is. So this is like body text. And then I will go ahead and make sure that the text name, and I love the fact that this is copy and pastable. Body text font. And then ABZ. And this font is Lobster 2. So I'll just go ahead and say, I'll call this a logo temporary font. Lobster 2. And then I'm going to do 36. Make that a little bit larger. Go back into my document, see if I can make this a little bit better looking. This would be a pretty cool thing to group together. So let me just go ahead and group it. Notice that when I group things at the sidebar, you'll see that these are drop-down menus, right? So these are expand and collapse, and I can open and close these. I'm gonna move that a little bit over. And then this is I'm currently using 12. Alrighty, so of course I can make this even, going forward, I would probably rearrange this, to be honest. I think I might move things around. I might make this a little bit more user-friendly. What I love to do sometimes is make sure that people know what's here. So I might put let's see here, like some headers here. Like put company. Maybe that might be okay. Bring all of these together. Now you can see I'm being finicky with the file, but I'm just going to organize this really quick. I love organization. It's really important. Especially because you never know where communications might go. So if I want to, I think I might just leave a little bit of that over. Yeah. And then these can be inspiration images. Oops, whoa. And then finally, fonts. All right. Okay, so that is really the mood board. And in the next video or next part of the video, you'll see that what we're going to be doing is, and I'm going to stop. I can see I can where I could probably manipulate more things now. But what I want to do is talk a little bit about sharing and kind of how you can export this, as well as go through and clean up the file.